An empty map, a bulldozer, and a budget that will not stretch to half of what you want to build. That was the whole offer in 1989, and it held people at screens for entire evenings. Games since have kept the joy of watching a city grow. Almost none kept that same fear of watching it fall apart. And which half you actually miss decides whether City Skylines replaces it. SimCity turned city building into a genre. No enemy, no score screen, no ending. 3 kinds of zone, a tax rate, and a city that grew or stalled on how well you read it. A generation later, City Skylines took that genre over so cleanly that arguably the series it dethroned never recovered. On paper, Succession is settled. But it's not quite settled. The original ran on 2 things at once: the pleasure of building a city and the pressure of being made to fight for it. The modern answer is far better at one of those than the other. So, does the original still hold up? Does Skylines replace it? And where did the other half dropped actually go? Everything in the original fits on one screen: residential, commercial, industrial. 3 zone types, drawn straight onto the map with money you mostly did not have. Connect the power, set the tax rate, and wait. Then the map answers you back. Houses appear, or they do not. Traffic thickens around the road you cut corners on. The city is not a backdrop for missions. The city is the entire conversation, and it talks back every month when the budget arrives. The layout that made sense at the start rarely survived the city actually growing. A small town is easy to keep clean, housing here, industry well clear of it, everything with room to breathe. Then the city gets bigger, and it wants more of everything, more housing, but also the parks and services people actually want once the basics are covered. That room is rarely where you left it, so you go back in and bulldoze into streets you already finished, encroaching on a plan you thought was done, just to fit in with what the growth is actually asking for. What made it absorbing was not depth, it was consequence. Money ran out fast, and the game never softened that. Zone too many industry, and the land beside it turns cheap. Skimp on the fire department, and one small blaze becomes an afternoon of dragging the bulldozer through your own streets, digging fire breaks in the town you spent the whole session raising. And behind all of that, the disasters, the earthquake, the flood, the monster that shrugs out of the bay and walks through whatever you were proudest of. The monster never seemed to fancy the tiles you could afford to lose. It travelled too. The SNES port added a cheerful advisor who popped up to congratulate you and handed out gift buildings when your city hit its marks. The PC original offered no such warmth. Your reward was that the city did not burn down. And if your SimCity was 2,000 or 3,000, your memory of it is probably richer, but the bargain underneath was the same: growth under constraint. That pressure survived every sequel. It just did not survive the Succession. So does it hold up? It certainly reads smaller than you remember. The interface, after all, is 1989, the traffic is dots, and the entire economy would fit on an index card. Come back with 30 years of memories, and the first 10 minutes can feel like visiting an old school. The corridors are still there, but it's all shorter than they should be. But give it a proper sitting rather than 10 minutes, and it plays like a very good board game now. Tight rules, visible state, and a contest you can hold entirely in your head. And because the whole city sits on that one screen, the re-entry cost is close to 0. Save, walk away for a month, load it again, and everything you need to know is looking at you. A city goes from bare map to working town in a single sitting. An odd but genuine fit for a spare hour, provided you have the patience for 1989 controls. By modern standards, that is not a limitation. It's a design you can no longer buy. It's also not the half City Skylines chose to inherit. City Skylines is what happens when the watching half of SimCity gets everything it ever wanted. The zoning loop is the same one from 1989. Paint residential, paint commercial, connect a road, wait for the map to answer. But the answer now arrives as thousands of simulated citizens with names, commutes, and opinions about your bus network. Drawing a district and coming back 20 minutes later to find it full is original's core pleasure. Delivered at a scale Maxis could never have rendered as a screenshot, let alone run. And for the first few hours, the Succession looks complete. The early game has real pressure, one map tile, a road budget that pinches, and a town that can genuinely go broke before the first landfill fills up. Then, somewhere around the point your city starts working, the money problem disappears. Its own community has said so for a decade, with funds piling up faster than you can spend them, and bankruptcy effectively off the table. What still bites is neglect. Starve a district of services, or let pollution creep in, and it will visibly decline, buildings going derelict one by one. But it is local, and it is fixable the moment you notice and go fix it. Nothing citywide, nothing you cannot take back. The players coined the phrase for what the whole thing became: a city painter. A magnificent one, but a canvas does not fight back, and the one problem that still does: traffic. Slowly this takes over the whole game. Somewhere around your third rebuilt interchange, you notice the game about cities has quietly become one about roundabouts. You'll not entirely mind, but nobody ever lost a city to a roundabout. That shift then decides what kind of game it is for the time you have. Skylines is a weekend start. A real city is a project measured in tens of hours, and short visits tend to bounce off it. But once the city is up and running, and your planet for it is still warm, an hour of tinkering here and there holds up fine. It is the cold return that costs you. The city is all still there when you come back, but what you meant to do with it is not. That half-finished interchange keeps no record of your plans for it. The obvious question is whether City Skylines 2 fixes the pressure problem. On its own player's account, not yet. The same money and traffic pattern is already showing up in its own community, on top of performance issues that have outlasted several rounds of DLC. For this purpose, the first game is still the one to buy. The base game is complete without spending another penny beyond it. The expansion packs, themed around transit, parks, campuses, whichever catches your eye, are an optional flavour, but certainly not a checklist you owe the game. Buy the ones that interest you and leave the rest. The full stack costs several times the base game's own price for content plenty of players never touch. This leaves the title question standing, and the answer is it splits. So, does City Skyline actually replace SimCity? Half of it. The right half for most people if what you miss is watching a city grow. Bare ground becomes a place, the godly absorption of a city becoming alive under your hands. Then Skylines does not just replace that feeling, it improves on it. Give it the weekend start it needs, and it will give you the city. But if what you miss is the fight, the honest answer is that it never moved into Skylines. It moved sideways out of the genre's main line into other city builders this channel hasn't a proper session with yet. Frostpunk, by reputation, reveals a whole city builder around the hearth SimCity dropped. Loss first, and a city that can genuinely die. And then Against the Storm is said to turn that same pushback into the entire loop. Neither is a verdict for here, just a pointer. The pressure did not stay in 1989, and he went looking for a new home outside the zoning brush. And it's worth checking out yourself if that is the half you're chasing. As for the original, one sitting settles the question firsthand. Not a museum trip, but a working compass. Expect to find the interface for the first 10 minutes, and then expect the contest to still be there underneath it. Read what it points at, and pick the successor that then matches. SimCity taught this whole genre what it knows. Skylines already proves it's there for the city builder. The fight, that went looking elsewhere. Choose by the half that you miss.